me and baby girl are going out, about to celebrate Easter together. And we're going to a plantation later on, and we're gonna bring y'all along today. It's the first video that baby girl's in. See y'all when we get there.
Historic. It's a good word.
It's the Middletons. The Middletons are buried right there. May they rest in peace, but wow.
I hate
Caterpillar.
caterpillars. My dad's allergic to caterpillars.
Really?
Yeah.
Dang, these steps are
I might
steep.
be too, but I don't want to find out.
Yeah, neither do I. At least not right now, right?
So, if slavery's always changing, and it's never the same at the same time or at the same place or even with the same people, well, let me ask you guys. What's slavery? How do we define it? How can we define slavery? Any ideas?
When there's been a transaction made between two people where one is essentially underneath the other person's control, whether that be through monetary reasons, property, or even personal.
Wow, that's a big one. I like it though. Underneath someone else's control. I'm going to kind of take that from what you just said. I like it. Excellent. Anything else?
People are having to stay in a place that may not necessarily want to be.
Okay, staying somewhere against their will.
Against their
Or
will.
wish. Okay. I'll buy that. Yeah. Anything else? You know, your answers are very similar to what General Sherman received in 1865. Everyone know General Sherman? War's Hell Sherman? In 1865, he's down in Savannah in January of that year, and he approaches a group of freedmen. Everybody know what freedmen are, right? Former slaves. And he asked them that very question. What is slavery? Spokesman for that group was a gentleman by the name of Garrison. He's 66 years old. He's a former enslaved person. He later takes the last name of Frazier. And here's what Mr. Frazier says to that question. He says slavery is receiving through an irresistible power the work of another man and not by his consent. Not bad. Not bad, yeah. Slavery is about one thing, about work. Or more specifically, it's about one person benefiting from the work of someone else. Now, do you have racism? Do you have brutalization? Do you have dehumanization within this system? Yes, you do. That's how slavery operates. But that's not the goal. The goal is not to dehumanize. The goal is so that one person or persons become powerful and rich by exploiting the work of someone else. But notice what kind of work he says. He says, work of the unconsented. This is forced labor. There's no contract. There's no agreement. There's no handshake. And here, this is one person forcing someone else to work. Now, in order for this to work, Mr. Frazier says you have to have an irresistible power backing this up. You got to have something that's supporting this, that holds it up, all right, that makes this whole thing run. Because without it, it'll fall apart. What do you think he could be talking about? What could that irresistible power be?
Violence. Money.
Violence, money, yeah,
The Confederacy.
fear. Well, what's the Confederacy?
Well, it's a group of people in power.
Ah, so you're saying it's the government?
Well,
Yeah.
people who-
Matter of fact, when South Carolina's
Big red goat. Holy shit.
Yeah, no, that is a
I'm
big
not
one.
even feeding you.
It's the goat. Nice to meet you.
Big. Who's big goat?
I think it's a girl goat.
Or
Should I
they
be-
don't have they took his horns off.
Would that be a goatess? That's a that's a goatess, because she doesn't have a horn, so it's a girl goat, a goatess.
Goats have horns too. They could have just took them off because she was doing too much whipping.
That's a goatess. No, I'm just playing. But this one, hey, Mr. Goat. Look at his eyes.
Look at that pretty pony.
It's not a pony. Oh. You see the horses way out there.
But they're huge. Like huge. Those are the type of horses that they walk in downtown.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. You think they're Mustangs? That's right.
No.
That's the only kind of horse I know, really.
Wildness is what that is.
Is that a cat?
Yeah.
Oh, don't. Y'all know Jet and Sylvester? The cat over there. They probably know our cats.
No, that's a rich cat.
Yeah, honestly, yeah. Like, I don't know those alley cats.
Wow. Was used by children and their caregivers.
Formed in 1670. Its fundamental constitution says that slavery is authorized and it is protected. Think of it this way. People from now on, probably to the end of time, are going to argue over the cause of the Civil War. Okay? Was it slavery? Was it states' rights? Was it money? Blah, 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 whatever. They're probably going to argue for a long time. There's more.
Look at it, G-Wagon.
Yeah. That's the, this one right here, that's the Cadillac of caddies. Look, that thing got glass in it. It got lights. That's the Cadillac of caddies. Look, even got the cup holders on the side. You see, got the cup holders right there. Wow.
It included mirrors and cigar cases.
See, Cadillacs.
Was used for a more elegant
See, look.
and formal
This
occasions.
example belonged to the Pringle and Pinckney families. I am a Pringle. I swear.
Are they white?
Haters be like,
Are they white?
how do you think black people got their last name, Ryan?
From white people?
Duh, so therefore, that's my Cadillac.
This is the jump seat buggy.
This your kind of.
This one is horses.
Yeah.
One single horse. Wow. Look at the wheels on the bus. They go round and round.
One thing you can't argue. When the war is over and that ruling government, the Confederacy, is taken out of power, what else goes away? The institution of slavery goes away. Agriculture still survives,
Okay.
but slavery.
They have names. One called is Hercules, Jake, Caesar, Stephen, Ben, Morrow. Identified in Middleton as butlers, stewarders, house servants, hairdressers, waitingmen, and cooks.
Goes away. Because without that government to back it up, to support it, it can't survive on its own. Now, for these other, if this thing's about work, what kind of work are we talking about? Well, for the Middletons and these other planters here, they're looking for what we call cash crop, and they're going to try everything. They do timber, livestock, cattle, indigo, they get into silk, all kinds of things. But come about 1700, they find that cash crop. Everybody know what it is down here?
Rice.
Rice, that's the big thing. Now, when the Middletons and these other planters are looking for enslaved labor, they're going to turn to the coast of West Africa. Why?
Because they know how to grow rice.
You're right. They've been growing rice for centuries. They have the skill, they have the ability. Matter of fact, they are the shakers and the movers here. Without them, it's not going to work.
But they were also enslaving some of their own people.
True.
Go away. Act like it ain't there.
Hey, too earlier.
Can't we?
And I was going to say, let's look at it a little closer, though, real quick. Historians will estimate that nearly 12 million Africans will come across the Atlantic here to the New World. Okay? Of that 12 million, what percentage do you think actually comes to North America?
Probably about 5.
A lot
So
of
get it
them
about
died
right.
on the way over.
We're counting them in the 12. The 12 is what survived.
What survived?
Yes, ma'am. She said about 5%. I'm going to go with her.
Yeah.
So let's round that up, 1 million. We're going to round it up. Where's the other 11 million going?
When they go to South America,
South America, West Indies, Caribbean.
the Caribbean.
Sugar plantations, silver mines, coffee plantations. Notice, we didn't say anything about rice plantations. We didn't say anything about that. So even though they are the shakers and movers, I don't think that's the reason why they were gone. When you look at the primary documents, it says that these people from West Africa have the
I used to ride horses.
For real? I used to ride horses. Well, I used to own horses back in the day. The Pringles did. Haters be like.
already let the sheep out though. The sheep are in the middle. Oh no.
It doesn't sound like that. What you think came charging at the thing? Is there a stop? Uh-oh. They do. They do stink.
A proper constitution. What's it mean when they say they have the proper
The
constitution?
right conditions.
They can work hard.
Work hard. It was said at the time, a white man.
Wow. The building's the last president.
He can't work in this Carolina sun. He can't work in these fields. He'll die out there. There's no way he can survive out there. But a West African, that's what he was made for. So you see, right from the very beginning, what's one of the controlling factors of this trade?
This.
Race.
Yeah.
Race, right from the very beginning. Now, of those slave ships that do come to North America, guess where about 50% of them end up at?
The Carolinas.
City of Charleston.
Oh.
Right here, close to 50. When these people get off these ships, they now find themselves in the society and the civilization that basically view them, well, first it views them as being inferior. Okay? They're seen as having no visible culture, no visible civilization. They're like animals. They're barely human. And because they're like that, they have to be pinned, they have to be chained, they have to be controlled. Secondly, they are a workforce, as we said earlier. Everything that an enslaved person does on this plantation is for the benefit of the man from the house. There is no other reason for him to be here. And then lastly, and this may be the big thing, according to the law, they are defined as chattel. They are property. Okay? Let me ask you a question. How do you get property?
You buy it.
Okay, you buy it. Now, if you can buy property, that means you can sell it as well. And we know that the Middletons are very involved with this, especially Henry Middleton's brother Thomas. He is one of the largest buyer and seller of slaves in the 18th century here in South Carolina. Okay, so that's the way we get property. Any other ways you get property?
Inheritance.
Inheritance. So you're saying passed down like a piece of furniture. When Governor Henry dies in 1846, according to his will, he owns approximately 600 enslaved people. And those 600 people are divided amongst 9 children over 4 plantations. In addition to that, women, they would bring dowries into a marriage. Okay? When Susan Pringle Smith marries Williams Middleton in 1849, she brings land, she brings furniture, and she brings 30 enslaved people with her as well. Any other way you get property?
Steal it.
Steal it, but isn't this a legal institution? Isn't it supported by the government? So if you steal it, you've broken the law and they can be retrieved and returned to their original owner.
Wouldn't trade also be
Well,
something?
Okay, trade, barter, we'll kind of go that into business. What's the word chattel sound like?
Cattle.
You breed it. According to the law, the child follows the condition of the mother. If the mother is a slave, the child is a slave. Whoever owns the mother owns the child. This is exactly how the Middletons view these people. They see them as being inferior. They are below them in many ways. They are a workforce here for them to benefit either economically from the things that they produce or from the lifestyle that they allow. Or lastly, they are things. They are things that can be bought, they can be sold, they can be traded, they can be inherited, they can be bred for their use. Okay. Now, speaking of the Middletons, from the time they settled in Charleston in 1678, all the way up until, let's say, 1865, the end of the Civil War, in that roughly 200-year time frame, the family as a whole, they're going to own over 19 plantations here in South Carolina. Those 19 plantations, you put them together, we're going to look at about 63,000 acres, and they will own roughly about 3,500 slaves to own those plantations, to run those places. Now, Middleton Place, this is acquired by Henry Middleton in 1741. This is part of his wife's dowry. By 1860, this place is 6,500 acres. All right? You're only seeing 110. We've saved you a lot of walking out here. In addition to that, in 1860 is the highest number of enslaved people here we know at one time, which is roughly about 150. Okay? Now, as you're walking out here, as you're going through those, let's say, the garden paths, keep in mind, you're not just walking in the footsteps of a signer of the Declaration of Independence or of a president of the Continental Congress. You're also walking in the footsteps of such people as Mary, Emmanuel, Winter, Bob, Priscilla, Willoughby. These were enslaved gardeners out here that not only did the plantings and the cuttings and the caring of this land, but they, along with other enslaved people, they created almost everything we see out here. They're the ones that cleared out the greensward and the parterres and carved these terraces going down the slope. They created the water features out here and the pathways and in the interior garden rooms and everything. I often say this place is not only a monument to their enslavement, this place is a testament to their skill, their ability, because this is amazing what they created. When you're over in the stable yards, you're looking at some of the display on the animals and the work done here, or maybe talking to some of our artisans out there. They are demonstrating and talking about the work that was done by such people as Caesar, a house carpenter, John Baptiste, a bricklayer. These two gentlemen are building these buildings out here. And then there's John Baptiste, a bricklayer. And then you also have Quaco, a blacksmith. And then Jack and Abram and Williams and Klaus and Retta, who are cattle minders out here, taking care of the livestock and the crops here.
This one up here looks like a crescent.
And then up in that house museum, that would be the domain of the enslaved house servants, such as Hercules, who was a butler. There's Ginny, his wife, a laundress. There's Peter, a cook. Mary, a pastry chef. Ben, a hairdresser. Now, I would argue that the enslaved people in the house probably, that the enslaved people up there, they are probably always in the light of the Middleton family, okay? That they are always in their presence, and they are probably some of the few enslaved people that the Middletons know by name, but they recognize by face, because they see them on a daily basis. This could be to their advantage, and it may be to their disadvantage. For example, when Henry Middleton died,
As we walk around, we've been noticing a lot of caterpillars. It's some of like the enslaved souls and spirits, you know? Because it's like a caterpillar, you're trapped in like a cocoon, and then after a while, you turn into a butterfly and you're free and you can roam away.
It's caterpillar season. But yeah,
or
good
it's
theory.
caterpillar season. So as I was saying, and I was right, that is the chapel over there. Told you.
But it originally would be there. Shut up.
1884. According to his will, he owns 800 enslaved people. Of those 800 people, he frees one. He frees Caesar.
I want to go in.
Go.
Quickly.
Go, you want to go? Go ahead. And get stuck and look food. See, look, her roots are coming out. That's why she's getting so angry. Y'all saw it firsthand. I'm including all this in the clips. My girlfriend gets crazy at Plantation, and her roots come after her. Look, now she's about to hit.
Come on, man.
Karma. My girlfriend gets crazy at Plantation. That's gonna be the name of this title.
Personal slave. Now, Caesar's known as a waiting man. What that means is that not only would he accompany Henry everywhere, he would probably be with him 24/7. All right? He would also see to his every wish, his every need, to include dressing him, bathing him, even shaving him.
Manservant.
A manservant, exactly. And of those
Thing I want to know.
My battery died, so I didn't get all of that.
You recorded all of it?
I tried, but I didn't get all of it. Middleton Place. It was an old plantation back in the 1700s to 1800s. Yeah, a lot of history has happened here. It was really nice just walking around and learning about everything. As you can see, we got nice scenery in the background. If you like the video, please like, comment, subscribe. This will probably be part 2 of the video. There's an alligator right there.
Caesar is the one person he frees. Why? Why free him and nobody else?
He's probably older and not much.
Okay, could be older, and he may not be. But I would also argue, he's probably not the oldest person out here.
My theory, he probably couldn't do the work of,
My
hard
theory
labor.
is that he knows him all day long, every day for years and years, and understands his humanity,
Ooh,
understands.
so you're saying maybe they developed a relationship.
Yeah. and
They
he-
saw each other develop. I think both of you are right. Yeah. Any other reasons?
Yeah.
What's that?
Humanized.
Yeah,
He was
they're
You
probably,
think it's you and I? Okay.
yeah, they're probably really close.
I had one guest tell me, the last group said, maybe Caesar knows all the dirty secrets. You gotta take care of him. He may cause problems. Or, maybe he is a dirty secret. Maybe he's a son. Maybe he's a half-brother. Someone mentioned also, kind of along your lines of him being old, he's Henry's slave. Nobody else could take care of him and take care of this man like Henry could take care of, in Henry's mind, I should say, with that. Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. We don't know why he's free. We have no idea why. But everything you mentioned, I think everything you mentioned, everything is possible. Everything is possible. Now, let's look at the flip side. Because they're in such close proximity to the owners, they may serve as an outsource for the owner's frustration, for their anger. This may take the form of verbal abuse, mental abuse, physical abuse, possibly sexual abuse. I point this out to you because I want you to realize something here with these people. Even though there is a common bond, a common status amongst every enslaved person here, they're inferior, they're a workforce, they're a thing to be used however you see fit. That is common to every enslaved person here. But the circumstances in which they live, the things they do, the places they go, the things they see, the people they know, the things they don't do, that is what's different from each person. They all live under a set of their own circumstances. And it's not to say that one's better than the other. No, it's different, I would say. And especially for the slaves inside the house, I would say not only is it different, I would say it's constantly changing because they live their dictates according to someone else. So, what they said today, they might not be able to say tomorrow. What you did today, you might not be able to do tomorrow. I think they live their life walking on eggshells because they have no say in what's going to happen tomorrow. Okay. Let's jump back that cash crop real quick. Rice. In 1700, here in the Low Country, they're going to ship out about 1,200 pounds of rice in 1700. First commercial crop. Not bad. 1770, 83 million pounds. 1860, they're up to almost 140 million pounds per year. Now, as that rice production grows, guess what grows right beside it?
The need for the workforce.
Number of slaves. It was said for every one slave you have on a cotton plantation, you have 10 on a rice plantation. This is extremely laborious, plus there's a lot of hazards with this. And because of this crop down here, by 1708, 40 years after the colony of South Carolina was formed, there are more slaves in South Carolina than there are whites. This black majority, as it's known, except for a couple years after the Revolution, where it's about 50-50, there will always be more slaves in South Carolina all the way up until the Civil War. You know what the white planters are? They're the minority. They're not only the minority, they know they're the minority. And they know two things. They know if enslaved people aren't controlled, they're not watched, okay? If they're not, how should we say, content with their lifestyle, you won't have problems.
That's why they didn't want to be educated.
Could be, yeah, sure, yeah. But guess what? They have problems. 1739, 45 miles down the road from us, is one of the first and largest slave rebellions in South Carolina. It's called the Stonewall Rebellion. About 75 people, both white and black, are killed in this rebellion. And when this thing happens, people like Henry Middleton, they are scared to death. Because he knows two things. Number one, he knows he doesn't have the power. He doesn't have the control he thought he had. And secondly, enslaved people aren't quite as happy as he thought they were.